The last podcast, we talked a little bit about Black Monday. Of course, that is the day where organizations usually let go of their coaches, but we had a late addition to Black Monday. Actually, it's just a Black Tuesday firing as the Las Vegas Raiders fired Antonio Pierce after going 4-13 in 2024 and finishing in last place in the AFC West. So Pierce was the interim coach in 2023 after the firing of Josh McDaniel, who, really was not getting the job done whatsoever for the Raiders. And honestly, he was a pretty effective head coach. He went 5-4 over the last 9 games. The Raiders finished 8-9. They were second in the AFC West. And you think, hey, former player, former Super Bowl champion, maybe he is the definition of a player's coach, someone who players will rally around. Maybe you don't need years and years of learning the craft. And, I don't want to take away, he did coach for many years in the NFL, but he was not someone who people would have, going into 2023 thought was up for a head coaching job, but he ended up being the perfect fit for the 2023 Las Vegas Raiders. Unfortunately, it's 2024 where he was coaching the Raiders again, and it did not go very well for Antonio Pierce. Again, as we said, 4-13. They went into the season. They tried to reshape this roster. They got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. Instead, they went with Gardner Minshew, a journeyman quarterback, maybe somebody that they thought could potentially keep it, 8-9, 9-8, someone who's had success in the league, but unfortunately that wasn't the case to start the season. And then of course he got injured, so that led to second-year player Aiden O'Connell to essentially audition to see if he's the future of the Raiders. And I think we can pretty safely say that probably won't be the case. Now they're here. I think they have the 6th overall pick in the draft. And what I found very odd about all of this was that, one, me, I don't like when coaches are only given 1 year to figure things out. That first year is kind of like, we're tearing everything down. We have to play the games. We're going to put out a product that's probably going to be subpar, and we're going to hopefully reshape it in our image, in how we view how a football team should be constructed. So I always think it's kind of foolish to fire a head coach after just their first season. Even if they went 4-13, Bill Belichick, 5-11 for the New England Patriots, one of the greatest coaches of all time. You need to give these coaches time to install everything, to get the right people around them, to get the players bought into what they're selling. And I don't think 1 year is enough time. So that's my opinion there. I said the same thing with Gerard Mayo, where I didn't feel like he was given a fair shake at things. I don't know if Antonio Pierce is necessarily given a fair shake either. And obviously, I'm sure there's a litany of reasons that they fired Antonio Pierce that we're not privy to as the public. We didn't work with him. But just as a strictly, from my gut feeling, I don't think that coaches should only have 1 year, make or break. Yeah, there are some coaches who come in. Jim Harbaugh, he was able to turn the 49ers and now the Chargers around in just a year. But those are the exceptions. I don't feel those are the rules. And oftentimes, coaches who start off hot, really high, they're not able to adjust. They're not able to continue that level of success, and they get fired anyway. So, I mean, obviously there's no perfect way to do it, but I would have liked to see Antonio Pierce get a little more of an opportunity to show what he had as a head coach. And I'm very curious if anyone watching this who is a Raiders fan agrees with me or, disagrees with me. If you're saying, hey, this was not working, this was never going to work, I would really love to hear about that. I need to know, am I entirely wrong in my assumption that Antonio Pierce was not given the fairest of shakes. I mean, he's a young guy. He's only 45 years old. I think, it's kind of trending to more young player focused coaches, whether that's right or wrong, that will play out. But yeah, I don't love that they fired Antonio Pierce this early. And I really, really don't love that they fired Antonio Pierce and they made him do a press conference afterwards, like an end of season press conference. It's kind of like emblematic of the Raiders, the kind of clown show. I'm sorry, I know, historic franchise. I know they probably make tons of money in Las Vegas, but like, yeah, this is a poorly run franchise. It's going to continue to be a poorly run franchise. So let me know your thoughts about all of this one in the comments.